Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Stripping a Day Trader or vice versa, where you guys get to follow me along my journey of learning to become a successful day trader, or you can watch me crash and burn to the point where I might end up working at a strip club. Yup. So, in this week's episode, we're going to talk about several things. First, we're going to walk through this past week of trading. I'm also going to tell you guys how much I started my account with, what are some of the tickers that I normally trade, and where my account currently stands. So, first, let's get into this past week of trading. Yo, so it is Monday, December 15th. I'm getting ready to go to Pilates right now, but let's talk about the misfortune that has befell me on today, the Lord's Day, December 15th, in the trading market. Can y'all see this? Probably not, but I'm gonna go ahead and put that up for you. But as of today, in the options world, your girl is down a total of $748. Okay? In futures, it gets better. She's down $434.34 for a whopping total loss today of $1,170.82. When I say this got to be a skill, losing like this has got to be a skill. So when we talk about the goals and where I currently am at in terms of breaking even, just getting my account up to current. So for options, I think right now I'm down. For options, remember that same 1300. Right now, I need $835.57 to get to that amount. And in my futures account, to get to break even, I need $2,400. Am I gonna make it this week? I don't know. The market has been looking really, really wonky ever since like last Wednesday. So like most of my setups that normally work for me, it's not been working very well this week. So I'm actually thinking of not trading until the new year. I feel like I need to just start doing some risk management because if it continues the way it continues right now, I'm just going to be losing more money. And I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do for the rest of this week is I am going to keep an eye on it. So I'm not pressed to get into any kind of trades this week. I'm just going to keep an eye out. And if I see a really good setup, I will enter. But otherwise, we won't do all that because I ain't trying to go broke. Okay? So I'm going to see you guys tomorrow where we come back and see if we can find something good. Deuces, y'all. Hey guys, so it is Tuesday and I'm actually already in my trades. Today I've just decided that I'm gonna do just futures. I'm gonna scalp futures, take a series of like really calculated, because in this market right now, doing options is not it. As a matter of fact, I had an options contract that I opened yesterday that is just rotting away today. So either way, I'm gonna lose money today. But moving forward, I'm just like I said, gonna take a series of really calculated scalps and futures to try to work my way back up. Right now, I'm in a trade. I'm up $300 for the day. I'm expecting it to hit a certain mark, but it ain't cooperating. So basically, where I'm at right now, I am at this yellow line, and I'm trying to work my way up to this green line here. So we'll see if we make it. One of the hardest things about doing this is like mastering your mindset, because you have to wait, watching yourself lose a lot of money, and you still gotta sit there and wait. Sometimes it's foolish, sometimes it's not, and while you're waiting, you kind of have to like accept the loss as it comes. And I've been sitting here for the last however many minutes doing exactly that, like trying to accept my losses in hopes that it will swing the way I want it to. And it's just not working out for me right now. Alright guys, so I ended up having to leave today, but here's the TDLR of what happened today. Remember I told y'all that I was at this yellow line? I think I told you I was right around here, and I needed to make it up here. Welp, this is what happened all day. And I decided I'm gonna write it out, because I was pretty confident. But then this dip came and I was not expecting it, and I automatically got stopped out. The bank automatically sold off my assets because my margin was running low. And look what happened at the end of the day. Bam. I would have made it. And I knew I would have held out for the end of the day because that was my plan. But here we are. So as of today, I am down another $1,200 and I have officially blown my account. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. Hey, what's up, guys? So today's Thursday, and unfortunately, I did not record yesterday. Not because I couldn't, but because I just was not in the right frame of mind. Yesterday, I got into a trade that I felt so confident about. I felt really confident about it, and as soon as I got in, that decided to go in the opposite way. It was like, not today, Satan, not today, Satan. So, and remember I told y'all on Tuesday I had almost blown my account. Not almost, I blew my account on Tuesday. So I was in the hole already. And yesterday I lost another $700, which puts me even further in the hole. And so I was not feeling good because the last few days has just felt like every single time I got into a trade, at the exact moment, the market just decided I'm going to go in the opposite direction to the point where I'm legitimately convinced, and I'm still to this day convinced that like what I'm seeing is different from what everybody else is seeing. Like it's moving in the opposite direction of what I wanted. Because even some of the setups that I normally would work out for me, that I know for sure would work, they're not working now. So it was a rough day. I cried yesterday because it would just felt like for the last few days, nothing that I did I could get right, and it's hard because these are some of the same setups that I've been looking for the last few months, and they've worked every single time. So it's like it not working now. It's kind of weird to me. So I cried. Um, and then at the end of the day, I was like, oh, I don't want to do this shit no more. Like I'm already out of money. Like not out of money. Like I said, I'll explain that later. But I was just like, I'm not on it. I don't want to do this anymore. And then, at some point, I had to remind myself of three things. First of all, this is a first world problem. Girl, you're crying over a first world problem. Number two, I had to remind myself that I'm privileged enough to be in the position to be able to even try and trade and lose money from trading. That is a very privileged position to be in. And so I need to be grateful instead of sitting here crying my eyes out because I'm a freaking loser. And number three, I'm new to the game, right? I'm new to this. And this is all a part of learning. And I realized that in order to be in this game, right, and master the psychology of it, one of the things that you have to be able to master is losing, and losing a lot, because in order to gain a lot, sometimes you have to risk a lot, and the risk involves losing. And so I have to get used to losing. So after I reminded myself of all those things, I dried my tears and I came back in the market today. So yesterday, I didn't do options at all. I just went in for a futures contract. That shit went sideways, and I said, woohoo, yada yada yada. And yesterday was also my fifth straight day of losing. Fifth. So a girl was feeling a little down. But anyway, so I got back in the market today, and I went in for a few contracts on SPY and on futures, S&P futures again, and I walked away with $220 something today. Not a lot of money, but it's great to break up the losing streak, and so I felt pretty good about it. Again, as I've said earlier this week, I'm really just trying to monitor. Like I'm not trying to get into stuff until I feel confident about it, and so we'll see how tomorrow works. If I feel confident about something, I will. If I don't, although my confidence means nothing because yesterday I was really confident about the one I got into and it said no. So we'll see how it goes. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, y'all. So this week was a little bit treacherous. Okay, a girl was trekking through the ghetto is what I was doing. Yesterday, which was Friday, I fortunately walked away tiny bit scathed. I only lost about $12 yesterday, which again is a great thing to ask for. So before I get into what my cumulative loss is, let's talk about how much I started my account with. Now, I know some of y'all are expecting that Rex or Rich's story where, I started from the bottom working at McDonald's and then somehow I made $20 to 2 million. Yeah, no, that's not my story. I initially started my account with a total of $4,400. Where did I get this $4,400 number from? Well, I've always had a brokerage account that I've set up a really, really long time ago. And every time I got paid, every single 2 weeks, I would deposit $50 in the account. Over the years, that account has just grown. I've used some of that money to buy stocks and index funds, etc. And then I just kind of had that $4,400 sitting in there. And I was like, well, since that money was set aside for that purpose anyways, and since I'm going to be experimenting and possibly losing money, and that money was already to be lost, I decided that I'm going to go ahead and start my account with that amount. So when I initially started trying options, that is the amount I started with, $4,400. Now, last week, when I decided to venture off into futures, I ended up depositing an additional $3,000 into that account. Why? Because when I'm trading options throughout the day, once I buy contracts and sell them, that money is tied up and it needs to be settled, and it needs one day for that amount to be settled. So I wouldn't have extra money if I needed to. If I used up all of my money on options, I wouldn't have any left for futures. So I decided to put a separate amount of money into the futures account. So in total, I started off with $7,400. Now, remember earlier when I said that I blew my account? I did not necessarily blow my account. So the way my system is set up is the $4,400 of initial investment is just money that I was okay with just saying if it gets lost, it gets lost because it was there to be lost anyways. The other $3,000 that I push in my futures account, that's money that I borrowed from myself that I need to pay myself back. Okay? So, with all of these losses that I suffered this week, I got to critical, and critical is that $3,000. So, as of today, I have lost a total of, hold on, let me check for y'all. Let me just make sure I got the right figure. As of right now, across both accounts, futures and options, I have lost a total of, you ready for it? $5,200. $5,200. So now my balance is all the way down to $2,240 some dollars. So what that means is, not only have I eaten up all my 4,000 blowaway money, I now owe myself some money. Okay, and I gotta pay up, which is also why I didn't bother trading a margin, because I'm like, I don't trust myself to borrow other people's money, because then now I owe them money plus interest. I wasn't gonna have that. So that's part of the reason why I did not opt to go the margin route, and I decided to use my own money to start learning how to trade. So what are some of the tickers that I typically trade? Well, initially when I started learning, there was a girl called Chloe Trades whose video I watched, and I literally copied her entire list that she watches every single day. So my watch list is the same every single day. I have about 11. I have the S&P 500, NASDAQ, Dow Jones, Facebook, NVIDIA, like all the big names I have. However, I've noticed over the time of watching, that all of the index funds pretty much kind of move the same way every day. So I just got very used to the S&P 500, and so I literally trade the S&P 500 in options pretty much every single day, which that ticker symbol is SPY or SPY. In recent weeks, I've actually ventured off into silver, which is SLV, and gold, GLD. I've been doing those, but it's rare that I've done that. For the most part, I've stuck to the S&P 500 in options, and over in the futures world, I do the exact same thing. I started off doing the E-minis, S&P 500 E-minis, but then because your girl's account is kind of in critical right now, she got to do the micro minis until I can build my margin back up. But for the most part, that is all I do, and I don't plan to do everything else. Now, I know it sounds silly because the S&P 500 is not good to trade every day, but my plan is not to trade every single day. For right now, while I'm in the learning phase, of course, I'm trying to get everything I can, notice the market in every single period of the year. And so I am trying to trade every day, but my goal is not to do every day. There are days when the market doesn't look good and I'll be able to sit it out. But for now, while in the learning phase, I'm sticking SPY, and I get to SPY whenever I can. So where does that leave me for the rest of the year? We are coming up to Christmas, and I am not entirely certain that I'm going to be trading for the next 2 weeks. That is because over the Thanksgiving week, I noticed that the market moves a little bit crazier on the holiday time. So I'm kind of expecting the same thing to happen for the next 2 weeks. And as such, I have no intentions of really trading for the next 2 weeks. So in terms of videos, I probably won't be back here until after the new year. If something does happen throughout the week, I'm still going to be monitoring. So if something does happen and I do enter any kind of trades, of course, I will notate that. But you guys will probably not see me until next year. So in the meantime, I would love for you guys to like, subscribe, so that way you can see when I drop new videos. And I will see you guys either next week or next year. And if I don't, have a very, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you all.